DraftKings contributors Geoff, Ulrich, and Pearce, dear Dietrich, are here to wrap up the show. Stop, don't, Dietrich.
I screwed his name up earlier in the week too. I just met him, so it's whatever.
Yeah, Pearce has been a part of this show for many years. All right, we're talking NASCAR, and as Emerson alluded to, we have been keeping track, guys, of your picks. And Pearce is firmly in the lead with 273 DK fantasy points. Geoff, just behind him with 132.
All right, so I was only explained the rules last week, and I've given Pearce. Look, it's a long season of racing ahead of us, Jesse. This NASCAR, I know they start with their best event for whatever reason. It's like the backwards sport, but we got a lot of track to make up here. I've given Pearce a nice head start. I know the rules now. I firmly believe I'm going to make up a ton of points this week as my pick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So those points we're keeping track of too, I believe, are only with the drivers you give us for your pick to win. So it's just one driver. It doesn't include F1. Just trying to make it easy for everybody at home to follow.
Right. So as Geoff explained, he just figured that out.
Yeah.
So,
but Rubbin is racing. We are not talking about the Xfinity Series Call 811 Before You Dig 250 powered by call811.com at Martinsville. We're not talking about that.
We're talking about the Blue-Emu Maximum Pain Relief 400 and the Formula One Heineken Australian Grand Prix.
Let's start in NASCAR.
Okay.
Where Pearce's pick from last week, Martin Truex Jr., Pearce, highest salary at 11.5. Is he worth paying up for this week?
I'll gladly do a points reset if we can change that graphic. When the producers said they needed pictures of us, I thought that, something better would be on there, but...
Look at that guy.
Oh, you don't think that...
I don't know if they gave their best that day. Maybe a little... You guys could actually pay for the paint shop subscription.
Oh my God!
That is nightmarish.
Yeah, I'm terrified.
Thanks for that, producers. Yeah, you can pay for Martin Truex Jr. There's going to be 400 laps. If you look at previous races, no one is off the table because of their price. We've seen drivers score as many as 200 fantasy points at Martinsville. Typically, the lead driver is going to score over 100 points. That's 10x. Now, there are fewer laps in this race, but still 400 laps. That's like 180 fast laps, 100 laps led points. There's plenty of points on the board. And Truex is going to be the guy. The last time they had a true night race at Martinsville, he won in 2020. He's an excellent short flat track driver. He was excellent last week at the short flat track. Truex is can absolutely pay off his salary this weekend.
All right. What do you want to do here, Geoff?
Yeah, same boat as Pearce. I don't think he's a must play, but I don't necessarily think he's a bad play either. This event typically sees strong front running, so there's not as much sort of movement in between, which means a little bit less gaining points, whatever we call them, placement points. But the laps led for Truex could definitely pay off. I think that there's probably just it's better to go a little bit balanced. Rostering Martin Truex Jr. means you're kind of bypassing a lot of guys in the salary, between the mid 9K to kind of mid 10K range, and there's a lot of good drivers there that I like. So I would lean towards you don't really have to do it, but you can certainly construct lineups both ways, at least in my opinion. And some of this will come down to qualifying too. We're not there yet, but Martin Truex Jr. obviously dominated this race, has dominated at this track, and is a former winner of this race. So he's certainly not a bad pick, but I just think with how the salaries are laid out, it's probably better to go balance this week. That's the way I'd lean.
This is a Saturday night race, by the way. I know a lot of these are on Sundays, just for anyone new to the program who stuck around to watch this segment.
All right, Geoff, let's get your slate approved pick for this week's NASCAR race. So this is the pick that will add to your points in the standings. I know you told us you figured that out now.
I gotcha. And I'm going. I got a great pick here. I mean, I look like I'm about to be a part of the next, vampire movie. Interview with a vampire here or something. But slate approved pick. Kyle Busch, 10,000. He's got 17 top fives in 33 races at Martinsville. He was third in the Truck Series. A day ago or whatever. He's looked very good in spots. He's been good in qualifying. And again, we want people who are up in qualifying this week, I think, because I don't think there's going to be as much movement. So he doesn't have that big win yet. But Kyle Busch, former winner at this track. I like what's happening here. I think 10K. I think Kyle Busch is going to win this race. And Emerson, he drives an M&M car. That's my goal in life, to drive a car with M&Ms on the I mean, that's amazing. So
Are there M&Ms in the car?
We're going to get it done this week. We're going to make up a bunch of points on Pearce.
Cool. Okay.
You gave away M&Ms last week at your bridal shower, or your baby shower.
Yeah. Pearce, what do you think? Get your slate approved pick to perhaps extend your lead over Geoff.
Well, I was going to go with Kyle Busch as well, but to keep things interesting, I'll change from Busch. But I think Busch is an excellent pick. Last time we had a low downforce race and practice, Busch in those 4 races averaged something like over 100 fantasy points per race. But I'll change it up. I'll go with Ryan Blaney. He was strong here last season. He's been strong the last couple of seasons. And his crew chief just seems like he is a genius. Every single week, Blaney unloads fast. This is a track that he already has a lot of skill at. So he'll be my pivot away. I think Blaney can score a bunch of points. He may not necessarily win the race, but Blaney has a knack for scoring a lot of points at Martinsville.
Get used to it, Dietrich. I'm stealing your picks every week until I take the lead here.
That's a smart strategy.
I know it is.
You have a lot of ground to make up. Let's go to F1. Max Verstappen bouncing back from a DNF in Bahrain to win the thing in Saudi Arabia, the whole entire race. So they took last week off, though, and now they're in Australia. He's their highest priced driver. 16-2. That's in the captain spot, though, and 10-8 in the flag. Should he be the play again, Pearce?
Yep, I'm going to go back to Max. Took Max last time. I will play Max again. And because this race is on the other side of planet Earth, we've already had 2 practices happen. Ferrari has been the fastest so far in free practice 1 and free practice 2, but it's not that far apart. Max is right there on the leaderboard. The Red Bulls look fine, and the Red Bulls were the best at Saudi Arabia. And with the new redesigned track in Australia, it's running a lot like the fast straight street course. So I think when it comes down to it, the Red Bulls will be the fastest again in this race, and Max is the fastest of the Red Bulls. So I will double down on Max Verstappen in Australia.
Did I say Bahrain wrong?
Well, you said it. Yeah. You just said it better than you said it the first time.
You typed in the script. You said it the way a cowboy would say it. Okay. Geoff.
You said Bahrain.
Okay. Anywho, Geoff, do you want to take a shot at this?
Yeah, I do. And I'm going to go with the Ferrari car. I mean, they were the fastest in practice. And it wasn't just Leclerc that was the fastest either. His teammate, Sands Jr. was up there. So I think that tells you something. I mean, I think that this track, a little bit more technical just from like the drag reduction zones that are in there. I think Leclerc has a pretty good shot of making it, grabbing his second here. I mean, look, Verstappen's great, but he did, he's only been 1 of 2 so far. I mean, Leclerc's been the far more consistent driver. I know it's a tiny sample size, but Ferrari with the faster car, I think that you save a little bit of money and you go Leclerc. I think he picks up another win.
All right, who is your pick to win? Did you just say that, Geoff? You think
I did. It's going to be Charles Leclerc.
All right, you answered the question.
Look, it's F1. Like 3 people win. We don't have a big player pool to pick from here. But yeah, I'm going to go Leclerc. And I mean, do you want my NASCAR picks as well? Do you want bets or should we do this all once or what?
We'll get your NASCAR pick. Pearce, give us your
I'm going
pick.
Leclerc to win. Go
okay,
Pearce.
First,
I thought he
Pearce,
gave us his
give
NASCAR
us your
pick.
Formula One pick.
Yeah, we just did that. Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
It's like 2 people who win every week. Let's go to NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point that Geoff makes. In F1, there are really 3, maybe 4 cars that you can consider. NASCAR is different. The pool's wide open. But in F1, there's less than a handful of guys that we can focus on every week for wins.
Okay, so who do you think's going to win, Pearce?
Max Verstappen.
Yeah. Okay. So you gave us that. We did NASCAR picks already. You said you were going with Busch, Geoff, like the M&M dude.
I'm going Kyle Busch. Look, I'm just going to give you guys some bets here. Kyle Busch, top 5, plus 120. I like that. And yeah, I would take him at plus 1,000 as well in the odds. And you could look, whoever you like between Pearce and I, Verstappen, I think pairing him with a Kyle Busch top 5 gives you a nice little parlay. Leclerc's at plus 155. You pair that with Kyle Busch plus 120. You got yourself a nice little sweat there.
All right, yeah. You have taken us to the final question of the segment, which is there a bet on the board that you like? Pearce.
Yeah, I've got a handful of bets I like. So if you look at the NASCAR head-to-head matchups, William Byron over Christopher Bell. William Byron has gotten really good at Martinsville the last couple seasons, and he won the truck race on Thursday night. I also like Alex Bowman over Tyler Reddick. Alex Bowman won at Martinsville last fall. Tyler Reddick has struggled at this racetrack. Kevin Harvick also over Tyler Reddick. As I mentioned, this is not a good Reddick track. Kevin Harvick has been good at short flat tracks this season. He almost won last week at Richmond. He was a top 5 driver at Phoenix. And then my last one is under 16.5 cars to get a classified finish. That means they run 90% of the race. In the F1 race, I'm expecting plenty of wrecks with all these added DRS zones at Australia, and also mechanical failures. We already saw Sebastian Vettel have issues. We've seen this happen. I mean, it's a brand new car, so we're seeing teams try new things and fail constantly. So under 16.5 classified finishes.